Hi everyone, Ricci here from Taste by Ricci, and if you saw over the weekend, I did the famous TikTok crinkle cake. I've done a few renditions over the last week, but I did one that was almost perfect for my mom, and so I saved a little wedge of it, and I just couldn't stop eating it. It was really good. So I think I've got it perfected, and I'm going to walk you through the steps on making the perfect chocolate hazelnut crinkle cake. Be right back. So what I like about this recipe is it's pretty simple. It's just 1 stick of salted butter, 1 stick of unsalted butter, 1 box of phyllo dough, 2 eggs, some hazelnuts. Now you can get these already chopped up at H-E-B in the little package. I found they're a little bit more economical if you can find them in bulk, and you're going to want to chop these up yourself. And you're going to want some heavy whipping cream, some sugar, and some Nutella. This is the size dish that I like to work with, and I like to work with the glass. This is a 2.7 quart kitchen and table dish from H-E-B, and it's actually the perfect size. It's a little bit bigger than the aluminum pans that are in the TikTok crinkle, but I prefer cooking in the glass. When you get your phyllo and you open it up, there's going to be 2 packages like this. So just open up 1 package. I like to cut off the tip there. Now be prepared, it's going to make a little bit of a mess. And so if you've ever been intimidated by phyllo, by guac de val, where you have to put butter in between everything, on this recipe you don't have to do that. And you just work quickly. Just like she says in the video, you just grab 2 sheets and you just crinkle them. You want to work quickly because this dough dries out pretty fast. No more than 2 sheets at a time, so even if you think you're grabbing 3, try not to. You want to just twist it so that all those folds are straight up. And it'll fix itself. Just remember those folds go up. And it's okay if you have some sticking out. I kind of like some stuff sticking out because it makes it nice and crispy when it's done out of the oven. In fact, my mouth is watering already. Worry if it tears. That's what I love about this. You can just really, it's very forgiving. So while I'm doing this, I've got my stove heating up, my oven heating up at 350 degrees. Try to separate my sheets so it's nice and fluffy. Sometimes you'll just have like 1 little sheet left over, and that's fine, just stick it in there. You're going to go ahead and open up your second package. That's right, you're going to use both packages in this recipe. Seems like a lot, but you'll see. It's even kind of messy. I think the messier the better, because then you get those pieces that kind of stick out like that. They're going to get super crispy and crunchy. I like to separate my 2 little layers a little bit before I crinkle, just so I give them some air, a little volume in between each piece of dough. See how I got it like that, but then I flip it so you get all those nice layers to stick in there. You want those layers so that butter, when you get ready to pour that butter in there, it's going to go in all those layers for you. I love this because there's no greasing of the baking of the thing. You don't have to fool with greasing anything. This is the desserts, I'm telling you. It does take a little work, but it's so worth it. It tastes like you spent all day in the kitchen. Go back over here, put some in if you want to. I got a little bit left to go. Here's the last little piece. I'm telling you, this stuff's so forgiving. I just love it. So now you got it all nice in there. It's already starting to get a little hard. You're going to pop this in the 350-degree oven for 10 minutes. So while your phyllo dough is baking for 10 minutes, you're going to melt your stick of salted butter and unsalted butter in a small skillet. Okay. Also, while your butter is melting, or when you get started on the other stuff, you can be chopping your hazelnuts. So I'd say about a cup of hazelnuts. So you just want to give your hazelnuts a nice rough chop. So you're going to pull your dough out and add the butter. Now I like to use a ladle for this part. So here's our butter all melted in our skillet. Those edges really good. Also use a nice spatula to get every little bit out. There's so much more butter in there. Butter's hella expensive right now. You don't want to be wasting none of that butter. Alright, and the reason why I want to get this nice is because I'm going to use the same skillet to do the next part. I'm not even going to wash it because it's all going in the same place. I'm all for less dishes. Now we're just going to put this back in the oven for 10 minutes. Okay, to a bowl we're going to add 1/4 cup of sugar plus 2 tablespoons of sugar. It's a little bit more than 1/4 cup. And to that we're going to add 1 egg. Then in a separate container we want to separate the egg because you only want the yolk for this next part. We're going to mix this around really, really well. I'm going to whisk it with a whisker. Now in your skillet, the one that you used to melt the butter, you're going to add 1/2 cup of heavy cream and 1/2 cup of water. Now you can use a full cup of full fat milk if you would prefer to do that. Now we're just going to warm that cream mixture up on the stove. You don't want it to come to a boil, you just want to get it warm. Okay, so I've heated up the cream mixture to about 120 degrees. If you have a little thermometer on hand, you can check that. Otherwise, just like you see a little steam coming off of that, just till you see a little steam coming. Then you just want to pour just a little bit, constantly whisking into your egg mixture. You don't want to turn your eggs into scrambled eggs. But what this does is it tempers your eggs, so it turns into a custard instead of scrambling them when you stick them in the oven. And you're making yourself an egg custard here, and it's going to bake up beautifully in your new dessert. There you go. Now you got a nice egg custard. What you want to do next is just add a little bit of extract. Now you're just going to add about 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla and 1/4 teaspoon of almond extract. Just a hint. It can really overpower your pudding or your custard. There you go. That's ready. Okay, and what I noticed also is if you don't skim that little bit of foam off the top, it will collect on the top of your dough, and it makes like a, I don't know, like a little foamy crust. You know, it's not very appetizing. So I like to take this little bit of foam mixture off the top, just a little bit, and it just keeps so the pudding settles in there. Whoop, my dough's done. I've taken all the little foam. See, it's not very much, but taking that little foam off the top, and we're ready to pour our custard into our phyllo dough. Okay, so using the same technique that we did for the butter, we're going to ladle our egg custard evenly into the dish. See how nice and pretty it's already getting? It smells like butter already. I love using a ladle on this dish because it just gets it in all the little nooks and crannies You have a lot more control instead of just kind of dumping it in there. Oh, nice and sweet. I like to get all the little edges. Let's see, if you had left that foam in there, sometimes it just kind of wants to sit on top, and then you can have a little blob of egg foam on top, and that's not very attractive. All right, so now the original TikTok instructions say to put this in for 30 more minutes, and we would, but we're doing something a little different, so we're going to do it for 20 minutes. Be sure to save your skillet and your whisk. Just rinse your whisk off. You don't really need to rinse your skillet because we're going to put a little cream and Nutella in here to make the chocolate ganache. So, like I said, trying to keep the dishes down to a minimum. So to your same skillet, add a little bit of the heavy cream and about 1/4 cup of your Nutella. Now, I had previously melted this Nutella, so it's actually a little thinner because this is one I used the day before yesterday. So, maybe just a little bit too much. It's probably going to be a little too. See how much darker it is than that one? That's the actual Nutella. This is ganache that I'd already made. So it's going to be a little thin, but it's okay. I wanted you guys to see how I make it. And you just heat this up on a very low stove when you're ready, right before you're ready to serve it. So 20 minutes, you want to take this out. Reason why is because you want to get those hazelnuts toasted for the last 10 minutes. Sprinkle your hazelnuts on the top. And stick it back in your oven for 10 more minutes. Okay, now for the grand finale. And you've got your ganache just waiting here, all nice and warm. So you're going to take your whisk and you're going to put it all over it like that and just drizzle your Nutella. I like to get my spatula, get every last little bit of that out. If you feel like you have enough on there, then just put the rest of the Nutella back in the ganache back in your Nutella jar and put it in the fridge because you've added cream to it now, so you don't want to leave it out. You let that cool and it'll slip right on out and be ready for you to cut and serve. Okay, I'm not going to mention any names, but while this dessert was cooling, it got into last night. So I can't show you how to it actually easily slips right out of the pan. It doesn't stick or anything, but here's a piece that's left. So you can see that it just comes, you can slide the whole thing out. Right now we just have this one piece, we have 2 pieces left, but I wanted you to see how nice and beautiful it holds together and it comes out. So there you go, there you have it. This is your crinkle cake held together with your custard, and it's light and flaky and delicious, and I think it's super easy. Got all those delicious layers in there. Got your hazelnut and your chocolate. That's good. Make it. Your friends will think you spent all day on it.